Today is Friday, April 29th. Wow, April, January, February, March, April. 3 months ago on January 29th, it was my birthday. I turned 50 years old. A lot has happened in a short amount of time. A lot has happened in a short amount of time. Seems like it all started in 2019, right? In fact, that's when the whole COVID-19 happened. I'm in the hair salon business, and I've been in the hair business for, I started in 1990. I was 18 years old. Started learning, training when I was 18 years old. And now, what is that, 32 years later, here I am still at it. I've been in every different type of hair salon. I owned my own hair salon. I work for somebody else now. In 2019, the man that used to own the hair salon that I work at, he had like 49 different locations at one time. He and his wife, they met each other when they were like 18 years old, I think he said. They met when they were both in school learning how to do hair. They call it cosmetology, getting a cosmetology license, because they teach you more than just hair. They teach you about skin and nails and all this stuff. But anyway, so he and his wife, they met when they were in school together, learning hair, and then they ended up, they got married and they started a business together, and then they grew and expanded, and before you know it, they had 49 locations throughout Southern California. And he and his wife were really, I loved them, and they loved me. They were really close to me. When I started working for him, immediately we got along really well. He wasn't doing hair anymore officially, although once in a while he still liked to, keep his skills honed in. So he and his wife, they kind of retired and just owned their businesses. His wife was a minister. Actually, she went into ministry, and I guess she was, I don't know if she was a pastor or what, can't remember, but she was in a small little church somewhere in the East County of San Diego. She even invited me to come speak there one time. I couldn't, it was last minute, she wanted me to come talk, and I couldn't do it, but I appreciated her confidence in me. Her husband, we had that thing in common, that we were both believers. And things were quite different when he owned the salon. But 2019, he and his wife, were both 73 years old, and it was time for them to sell the rest of their businesses that they had. They had sold some of them over the years, and then finally they said it's time to retire, and they wanted to go move. I can't remember if they moved to North or South Carolina. I can't remember which one they were wanting to move to. And so he sold my salon. A new guy came in and bought it. He was actually one of my co-workers for a while, and then he got stressed out and left. And then when he heard that the salon was up for sale, well, he made an offer, and he and his father, went into business together, and now they own the salon. And the former owner, his name was Michael, just like mine. And his wife's name was Mary, Michael and Mary. So Michael gets ready to move, and the house is up for sale. The salon is already sold, and he text messages me one day, and he tells me that he was in his bedroom, laying there in bed, and he was playing with, he calls it the clicker, the channel changer. He said, I was using the clicker for the TV, and his wife got out of bed, and she went into the bathroom and started up the shower, and suddenly he hears this clunk noise, he said. Mary, are you okay? Mary? She doesn't answer, and he goes in there, and she had slipped in the shower and hit her head, and she was gone, he said. One moment, they're talking. The next moment, just like that, she's gone. And he was really, really sad. I mean, really, really sad. So sad that he even told me he felt like ending it all. Of course, I tried my best to bring him some comfort. But what do you do when you are married that long and your spouse suddenly is gone, just like that? So, some time goes by and he checks up, you know. Once in a while we text each other, how you doing, Michael, you know, and how are things going? And eventually he lets me know that he met someone. He went to this place where people that they lose their spouses, kind of like a grieving place where people grieve and, you know, talk to each other and kind of build each other up and comfort each other, and, you know, one of those kind of things. And there was a woman in there that just so happened to be a friend of his wife. And he remembered her from the past, and she had recently lost her husband, and he had recently lost his wife. And the two of them actually ended up starting to see each other. And now they're married. And he's happy once again. And he's texting me and he says, so how are things going there at the salon with all the COVID stuff? Did you guys close down or are you open? I said, well, we closed down 3 times. I said, but, you know, we're reopened again. We had to close down 3 times. We were forced to close 3 times here in Southern California. Then we reopened again, and so we're still going. He says, well, it's a good thing the new guy owns that place, because he says if it would have happened when I owned it, he says I would have closed all of my stores, and that would have been it. So I'm thinking, okay, well, I suppose it's a good thing then that the new owner took over. And the new owner and I, we get along fine, but, you know, we have our differences. He told me he hates the name Jesus, and he doesn't ever want to hear me say the name Jesus in the salon. He even was calling me a Trump supporter when the whole, you know, election stuff began in, what was that, 2021, I can't remember anymore. And I wasn't talking out loud or sharing my political views with anybody. I mean, you know, not a whole lot of people that were voting on the right in the area that I live in. And definitely not the owner of my salon. Oh, no, no, no. In fact, he was going to put Vote Biden posters on the windows of the salon. That's what his plan was. And I'm thinking, this guy... Wow, talk about, you know, don't bring politics and religion to work or anything like that, but he has no problem putting his stuff in the windows. And if you ever came by my salon, you'd see a whole bunch of his beliefs all over the place, all over the front windows of the salon and on his mirror. And the thing that he says when he puts stuff on his mirror is, he says, we believe, talking about all of us, I guess. And his beliefs and my beliefs, they're a little bit different. I'm not just talking politics, I'm talking about a whole bunch of things. But I'm also not a critical, judgmental, you know, Christian that looks down at people, and if they're homosexual, they're condemned to hellfire. No. But he just so happens to be homosexual, and he was married to another man, but that man recently filed divorce, and they're no longer together. So in the salon, you know, the stuff that he believes in, he propagandizes it all over the place. I never get on his case about it. I never say anything, right? But if you believe in Jesus, he assumes that you're a hater. And it's just strange to me. I mean, because he affiliates Jesus with mean religious people. And well, what a shame that is. Perhaps he experienced that in his life, right? He even told me before, he says, I can't help it, who I am. I was born this way, you know? And I'm like, hey, man, I don't have anything to say. I wasn't born that way, so who am I to say anything? But he got really upset one day. I mean, super upset. We have a little back room in the hair salon where we've got our chemicals and hair color dyes and all this stuff, and we have a little refrigerator, and that's where everybody eats lunch and everything. And I was back there eating my lunch, and he was back there too, and he looks on one of the shelves and sees a coffee cup, and on the coffee cup it has the word faith, and that's it. Just so happens that one of the girls that works in my salon, she's Catholic. Her relationship with God is, you know, she says, well, I'm going to go see G.O.D. tomorrow. You know, on a Saturday, she tells me she's going to go see G.O.D. tomorrow because for her, G.O.D., she doesn't say his name. She spells it, she always says G.O.D. For her, G.O.D. is in the church building that she goes to. She's going to go visit him on Sundays, you see. For me, G.O.D.'s right inside of here, this body. This is his temple. And it's not because I made myself so holy and clean that he says, you know what, I can move into that temple. Quite contrary. My disqualifications are actually what qualified me, right? Saved by grace through faith, man. Not saved by my works and goody-goodiness. No, it's saved by grace. So, anyway, so she's got a coffee cup back there that says the word faith on it. And he exploded. She wasn't there that day, but he exploded with anger, and he says, I am going to smash that thing into pieces. And I said, hold on, dude, that doesn't belong to you. And he says, I don't want religious stuff in this salon. What did I say about religious stuff? I'm like, what about all your propaganda you got all over the place? That's not religion. That's my beliefs. I'm like, oh boy. I said, dude, you don't want to break her cup. And I said, by the way, faith doesn't necessarily have anything to do with religion. I said, you know, that could be a girl's name as well. I knew girls named Faith. And he was just so upset. So he took the cup and turned it backwards so he didn't have to see the word faith. So you can imagine what it's like working in this kind of atmosphere all day, every day. Not all day, but you know what I'm saying, each and every day. 5 days a week. Well, anyway, you know, because of this whole COVID stuff and all that, you know that the shots came around. And there's people that get the shots, and then there's people that don't. But it just so happens if you come into my salon, if you didn't get the shots, you have to wear a mask. And it's been that way ever since this whole thing started. And you have to prove that you got the shots. He needs proof before you come in without a mask on. And it just so happens I'm the only hairstylist that works there that has to wear a mask. Until yesterday, April 28th, Thursday. One of the best days of my life. You see, what happens is I go home from work on Wednesday night. Suppose Wednesday be the 27th, right? I get home from work, and my roommates, Kevin and Judy, they got a daughter who were babysitting her little doggy, Luna. And little Luna comes running up to me at the door, all excited, and greets me. I mean, I've never had such a warm, welcoming greeting in my life from anybody. And she really loves to greet me. And welcome home, hey guys, Tim. And she's jumping all over me. And so I'm talking to Kevin and Judy, you know, and I'm like, oh my God, how'd your day go? I'm like, you know, I just don't know how much more of this I can handle. I'm like, you know, that mask thing, it suffocates me. I wear this cloth mask all day, and I'm like, you know, I just feel like I can't breathe anymore. I'm like, man, and I said, and sometimes if I pull my mask down to take a breath of fresh air, the boss immediately will yell over at me, you need to pull that up over your nose, because he sees me as a threat. Although I am the only person in that salon since he bought that place that has never, ever called in sick, ever. But I'm the threat, right? And to top it off, he hires this new girl as a manager, because we need a new manager. None of us want to be a manager in the salon, you know, but so he hires this girl that he doesn't know, and she talks about how great of a stylist she is, and she's going to come in there and change things so much for the better. And right away, things go cuckoo, man. Day number one, I'm like, there's alcohol in this girl's breath. Her breath is reeking of alcohol. I'm thinking, man. And all day she was going into the bathroom and bringing her big purse into the bathroom with her. And coming out. And when she talks to people, she's slurring. Oh, how are you today? How can I help you? You're slurring. Like, obviously drunk. And all of us in the salon are talking about this. Is this girl drunk? You know? But the owner, she's going to change things up and make the best. And before you know it, and I can't prove it. I can't go into her purse and search for bottles. You know, as far as I know, she's on her period. You know, girls have their monthly stuff and they go into the bathroom with their purse and, you know, do their thing. And, you know, so, but for me and for many of the other stylists, there's some booze on her breath, and people start calling in and complaining about their haircuts they got and about the colors that she did. In fact, there's a girl that works at a nail salon next door to us, and this girl came in and had her hair highlighted, you know, blonde streaks put in her hair, and the drunk girl melted her hair severely, and her long hair became broken all over the place, and this girl was furious, and the owner wasn't there that day. See, I have a key to the salon, and I close up the salon every night. I lock up every night except on Saturdays. On Saturdays, I get there super early and I open up. And the girl that works at the nail salon, she's from Vietnam, so I can't understand her very well, but she's yelling and she doesn't want her money back. In fact, she's not going to have to pay for the service. I already let her know that. And the manager's just standing there and saying, your hair's fine. It's fine. What's your problem? I mean, slurring bad. Drunk. And so anyway, the nail girl, she just keeps on showing me her hair, showing me her hair, showing me her hair. And you see it breaking, you see it breaking. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I see it. I see it. And I'm just like so humiliated. Because, you know, that reflects on me too, because I work there. So finally, you know, some of her co-workers, the girl that does nails, come over and finally get her to go back to work. And now I can close the salon. This woman stayed an hour and a half after closing, and I had to deal with it. Drunk girl, I don't know if she's getting rides home or driving home. I don't know, and I just didn't want to know. And I'm just like, this is crazy. And then one of my customers comes in, and he thinks he has an appointment with me. He called the salon, requested me to give him a haircut, but somehow he ended up on her books. I wonder who answered the phone and put him on her books, right? So he's already upset that he's supposed to be getting his haircut with me, and he's with her, and I can't fit him in because I have a full schedule, and I actually have somebody sitting in my chair that I'm working on already. So he takes his chance with her, and the next day He's texting me on my phone, sending pictures of his haircut. He says, my daughter took these pictures, and he says, I've never complained about a haircut in my life. He says, but this is the worst thing that's ever happened to me. Look at this. And I'm telling you guys, that was, it was a disaster. I'm like, oh my goodness. And he says, I'm going to give the salon a bad review. And I'm like, hey, before you do that, please give me a chance to make it right for you. Come in, I will cut your hair for free, and I promise you I will fix it, which I did. The owner of the salon's still not getting a clue, which is just shocking me. But he's like, we can't afford to lose another employee. We can't afford it, and I need a manager. You don't understand. I'm going to Amsterdam. I'm going to Amsterdam next month. I need somebody that's going to watch this place. And I'm just like, dude, have you smelt her breath? And he says, what are you talking about? I've never smelled her breath. I'm like, I'm not going to say nothing, dude, but maybe you want to smell her breath. What are you trying to say? What are you trying to say? Do you know something? I said, I can't prove something. I said, but maybe you want to check her breath. And he says, I've never smelled anything, but he says, my sense of smell, I don't smell it very well anyway, but come on, she would never do that. I'm like, okay. The next day, I'm not kidding you, the next day, I come to work, drunk girls outside, crying and yelling on the phone. I'm so tired of people making up stuff about me around here. I'm just sick of it. And she's only been there, I don't even think she worked for us for 3 weeks, you guys. 2 weeks maybe, 2.5. It's kookier than I'm even sharing, but I don't want to share everything. It's just like too much insanity. But anyway, so I go inside, and the owner's sitting in the back in that break room, and he's got his hand on his head, and he says, Mike, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. And I said, what's going on? And he says, a client just jumped out of her chair in front of all of us and says, you are not touching me. You are drunk. And you're on something, I can tell. Yeah, I actually could tell, too, that she was on something besides alcohol. You know, a little. So, he's like, I just don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. Well, he didn't have to fire her. She quit. And when she quit, I'm thinking, hallelujah. Right? I hope the best for her. Really, I hope she gets help. Alcohol seems to be a huge thing with so many people right now. If you only knew how many drunk people I am surrounded by in my life, it just blows me away. And they don't want the change. They don't want it. They're happy where they're at. So you can't force nothing on people, right? If they want it, then they can keep it. But anyway, so I'm telling my roommates, you know, it's just, they know about all this stuff. And I'm like, I just don't know how much more of this I can take, man. It's just getting to me. And I said, and here I am suffocating all day. I said, and all these people coming in wondering if I'm scared I'm going to catch the virus because I'm still wearing a mask. And I have to explain to all these people, no, no, no. Do you see the sign at the door? People that don't have the shots have to wear masks. People that do have the shots don't. Oh, what are you, one of those anti-vaxxers? You know, and then I got the boss calling me Trump supporter. They're calling me anti-vaxxer. Sometimes people mix them both together, and it's just, you know, all day, every day, you guys. This was on Wednesday, April, what was it I was saying? April 27th. I'm telling my roommates this. And Kevin, he says, hey, well, don't you know that their Lord Fauci, he says that their Lord Fauci, he says their Lord Fauci made an announcement on the news. It's been all over the place that he says the pandemic's over. I'm like, what? Yeah. Isn't he the greatest medical scientist ever, everywhere? I mean, doesn't your boss just think he's the guy? I'm like, actually, he does. So he says, go into work tomorrow and don't wear a mask. I'm like, go into work tomorrow and don't wear a mask. He says, and if he wants to fire you, let him fire you then. Collect unemployment and go mobile. Do people's hair at their houses. I'm like, don't wear a mask. So yesterday, Thursday, April 28th, I go into work and I'm not wearing a mask. And I walk up to the front. The owner's up there, you know, at the front desk and talking to the receptionist and all this stuff. And I'm like, wow, you guys, did you hear the news? It's all spreading all over the place. What? And I'm like, Fauci announced that the pandemic's over. Isn't that great? Now, I don't care what that dude announced. But they do. What? Like, yeah. Have you been watching the news? It's all over the place. Whoa. And I walked back into the back room and I got my things, I put my things in the fridge, you know, my food for the day and all that. And then I set up my station. I didn't wear a mask all day. And in fact, the owner had me cut his hair because Cuckoo Drunk Girl had cut it when she was here and made it a terrible haircut. And he was miserable. He was miserable because he says it was the worst haircut he's ever had in his life. So I fixed it yesterday. And he never said to me, hey, you need to put that mask on. Isn't that great, you guys? So finally, I can breathe again. Hallelujah. That's all I gotta say. Hallelujah. There's good news after all. And today I'm going to go in there again. And I'm not going to wear my mask. And if he were to fire me for some reason, then so be it. I guess I'll do what my buddy, my roommate Kevin said, go mobile. You know, and I'll try my best. However many people have me come to their homes. I even had people tell me I should take my children's books that I just published. I published a children's book called Frog on a Lily Pad. Then I just got my Frog on a Lily Pad coloring book published. And they're on Amazon now. But, you know, Amazon, I've sold the books, but Amazon, you know, according to them, the percentage of money I'm getting paid so far for the months that the first book's been out and the coloring book recently been out, it's a whole whopping $24 and something cents. And I'm just like, oh boy, what are they paying me, 2% or something like that? I have no idea. You know, it was my publisher is the one that did everything. So, but I can get the books at my cost, publisher's cost, you know, which is probably like 50% off or less. I'm not sure. And then, and I have a couple. I paid full price for my own books, but if I can figure out how to get them on at cost, what I'm going to do is maybe if I were to get fired or something, I'd go set up a booth at, like, we have these things we call are they called street fairs or something like that? You know, you've got street fairs and swap meets and stuff, or flea markets, whatever you guys call them, and set up a booth and put these on there, right? These are my books, you guys. I don't know if I showed you both of them yet, but there's my children's book and there's the coloring book, and I'm really happy about it. And it's been something I've been wanting to do for years now, and it's finally accomplished. So maybe I'll do that to try to get some extra income going if things start to go cuckoo in there once again. But for right now, I'm so happy, you guys, because you don't even understand. Breathing in that cloth mask, and I even had people say, why don't you just wear the ones that the doctors wear? I'm like, well, because the doctors can afford to get a new one all the time and put one on because the hospitals pay for them. The doctors, they make more money than me, and I can't afford. The salon doesn't provide masks for me, even though I was forced to wear them. I have to provide my own. And those papery ones, whatever that material is, because I'm a guy and my facial hair grows super fast, it shreds those masks apart, and all those fibers, they go inside of my nose. And you got these breathing in and out, and you got these fibers going in and out, tickling your nose and in my face and all that. And it feels like I have tiny little bugs running all over my face, and it drives me crazy, right? Cuckoo. So I got the cloth mask, but it suffocates you more, but at least I don't have those fibers to deal with. Well, now I have no more masks to deal with, and I'm not going to wear one again. Otherwise, I'm gone. I just can't do it anymore. But you don't know. Yesterday, I took that mask off, and I didn't even wear it, and it was so nice to breathe again. I can't believe it. You know, sometimes we take things for granted. Sometimes we take being able to eat for granted, being able to have water for granted, and even fresh air, you guys. And guess what? I now appreciate the fresh air I can breathe. I'm so grateful for it. Thank you, Lord Jesus. Anyway, I love you guys. God bless you all. Hope you have a great one, and I'll see you all next time.